Am I the asshole for refusing to take care of my wife since she caught the flu from having sex with her affair partner? This is partially a rant and partially an actual question. I, 54 male, have been married to my wife Victoria, 54 female, for over 32 years. We have 3 adult daughters and 1 adult son. Early this year, she started menopause. I loved her and supported her throughout this difficult time. She said she didn't want to have sex because she felt like she's fat and ugly. I told her that she is beautiful, and I was patient with her as she said she didn't want sex. It was only since this month that she wanted us to have sex again. I thought things were getting better until I saw a condom wrapper in our bedroom. My job involves going out of town for business trips. This last trip, I tried to get into my wife's social media, and luckily enough, she used someone's birthday as the password. I found out that her affair partner is Zachary, 35 male, a family friend who has a wife, 29 female. So on my trip, I read so many messages. One message involved Zachary asking if it's okay to come over for their fun time since he thinks he's coming down with something. Even after getting back in town, I read some messages. Zachary messaged that he and his wife have the flu, so he can't see my wife for a while. My wife said that herself getting the flu was worth it. I came home to my wife, who is suffering from the flu. I immediately told her that I know about her and Zachary. She was upset, but too weak from the flu to stop me from packing and leaving. She begged me to not leave her alone while she is sick. After I left, my wife has been messaging me. She said she is very sick. I told her to go to the doctor, call an ambulance, or call someone else. She said she's not dying, but she needs me. She said she can't call our kids, nor any other family members, since they'll ask why I'm not there. She said that menopause had made her crazy, and that she wouldn't see Zachary anymore. I still haven't gone back. Am I the asshole? Avatar Julius says, I wouldn't have packed and left. I would have drove her to Zachary's place and told him that you left this at my place. Mustang says, call the wife and tell her. Call all of your kids and tell them before she lies, and do the kids right away. See a lawyer right away too. OP replies, I would hate to tell my kids, but I may have to if their mum will lie to them. The sanity inspector says, menopause did not make her cheat. Mail order a carton of NyQuil to her if you're feeling a little compassionate. OP says, I'll never know what menopause feels like. I've known other women who have gone through it. To my knowledge, those women have managed to avoid having sex with a married man who is a family friend. Go Hi Sweet Cherry says, please see a lawyer. Do you live in a no-fault state? If not, you might have to take screenshots of the messages, etc. before she deletes them all. I'm sorry that you have to go through this. And OP says, I did take screenshots. I have saved evidence in other ways as well. Whether or not they can be used in court is something I'll find out from a lawyer. Go Hi Sweet Cherry replies to that, then please see one on Monday morning. You need to know if you leaving the property is a good idea or if she should leave. I know you're hurting, but practicalities will mean a lot in the long run. Don't feel sorry for her just because she's got the flu. Feel sorry for yourself. You were so loving and trusting, and you didn't see what a disloyal and unfaithful snake that you were married to. Not the asshole. And OP replies, I have to fight the natural instincts, which are to feel sorry for her and to take care of her. I will see a lawyer. Restore Furniture 179 says, single woman here. I take care of myself when I'm sick. She can too. She chose that outcome, and now she has to lie sick in it. All kinds of ick sleeping with a married man-child close to the family. OP replies, she literally chose to have sex with a man who warned her that he was coming down with something, and afterwards, she messaged him that their fun was worth getting the flu. I have to remember that in case I feel sorry for her. Back up to the post, there is an edit. As soon as I found the messages, I was planning on telling Zach's wife. I wanted to tell her face to face. I wanted to spare our adult kids the horrible news. But many in the comments made a good point that my wife could lie to our kids. So I called Zach's wife first. I don't know what's going on in their marriage because she believed me right away. I called my kids and talked to them like a conference call. I had to, unfortunately, send some proof to them. I didn't go overboard, just enough for them to believe me. Obviously, they are all upset. I tried to keep it together, as I don't want to vent about their mother to them. Second edit, Zach's wife has been messaging me last night and this morning. She was planning on leaving Zachary anyway because Zachary was sleeping with 2 other women. But the fact that Victoria is a married woman who is like a family member speeds things up. Zach's wife made Zachary leave the house. Also, all of my kids have called their mother. They are not buying any of their mum's excuses. They all want me to divorce her. And yeah, I think you're not the asshole for refusing to take care of your wife. She's trying to shield herself from the consequences of her actions. Unfortunately, you can't allow that to happen, and you haven't. You've gone and told everyone. I really don't know what delusional fantasy land that she was living in, wherein you come home, take care of her while she's sick, and then lie to everyone about her cheating. Like, what was the end game there? Just completely forgive the cheating, allow her to get away with it, don't tell anyone, and kind of just open the door for her to do it more? Because that's how I'm reading the situation here. It's really sick that people can just live in denial like that. You know, I want to smoke whatever crack she was smoking. Regardless, you've done everything right so far. She deserves it for cheating on you. That is pathetic behavior from her. And I'm looking forward to the update. So yeah, not the asshole. And now, on to the update. The answer was obvious, but I needed other people to tell me, so I didn't stupidly go back to my wife. Thank you for those who commented on the first post. I had made 2 edits on the first post explaining some stuff that happened after I posted. To just briefly touch on those edits, Zach's wife and my adult kids now know that my wife Victoria had an affair with Zachary. Zach's wife kicked him out of their house, all kids are on my side and they want us to divorce. I talked to a friend who was a major divorce attorney for the 3rd time. I've given her a lot of the evidence so that she can decide what we can use. She did say that I should be careful with what I say online, especially since I used Victoria's and Zachary's real names. Our kids, especially our eldest daughter, are pressuring their mum to make this a quick and easy divorce. A lot of people who commented said that I was being too nice to my cheating wife. I'll show some pettiness by letting everyone here mock all the excuses and minimizations that she made for her cheating. Quote, menopause made her crazy. She felt fat and ugly. She felt like she didn't deserve me. Zachary came on to her first. She wanted to make sure that a man can be attracted to her without him being obligated to her because she's the mother of his children. She had sex with Zachary to make sure she can still have sex. Just had to make sure downstairs was still fully functional. Had to have someone else test out the gear. Zachary didn't mean anything to her. I'm overreacting because Zachary is a family friend, not a family member. Ew, why you have to frame it like that? Well, at least I'm not having sex with my dad. That would have been way worse. Zach's wife isn't like a daughter to us. She didn't betray a woman that's like a daughter to us. Other husbands have forgiven their wives when the wives cheat. If I had sex with a younger woman during a midlife crisis, she would have forgave me. Biggest lie I ever heard. She would not be that charitable, you liar. We have 4 kids. We've been together for so long. I promise to love her in sickness and in health. The sunk cost fallacy strikes again. Zanif says, quotes, she felt like she didn't deserve me. I mean, she ain't wrong. Desperate to Not Dream says, it's interesting how she's refusing to acknowledge any harm she did to the other wife. OP says, Zachary's wife is someone Victoria and I watched grow up. She was like a niece. Our eldest daughter was the maid of honor for their wedding. Fragrant Opportunity says, menopause makes just about every woman gain weight, especially in the stomach. I went through it about 13 years ago. Never cheated on my husband. OP says, my eldest daughter didn't appreciate it when my wife said that when she goes through menopause, she'll understand. Snarky Bean Broth says, just gonna note that as someone who has gone through the I feel old and fat and ugly stuff without using it as an excuse to cheat, having feelings about aging can be a real struggle. But it's a struggle that is on you, the person struggling, to address and fix. I've made peace with my older, slightly chubbier, more grey self. Some of it by putting in the emotional labor, and some of it by proactively doing stuff, like exercising, to mitigate the changes. I feel unattractive isn't a free pass to check with the public about one's attractiveness in the please vote with your dick kind of way. If she needed outside validation beyond you telling her and showing her that you still loved her and found her attractive, there were plenty of ways that didn't involve someone else's dick. Like TikTok thirst traps, for example. Like, well, what's going on here? Still not the asshole. I'm saddened for all of you involved in the blast radius of this shit show. OP says, thank you. I was there constantly telling her how beautiful I found her. Why would she need another man to feel better? Purple Loving Brunette says, I'm in the early stages of menopause, and it hasn't caused me to cheat. It didn't cause my stepmom to cheat. It's such a lame excuse on why she cheated. I find it funny that Zach was seeing another woman while he was seeing the married woman. Wife lost everything. I hope her affair partner was worth it. Zach's wife and the husband can be each other's support systems. Be so ironic if he and Zach's wife got together. And OP says, I had watched Zach's wife grow up. She was like a niece. It would be icky, for a lack of a better term. I understand why people say things like, it'd be so ironic if he and the wife got together and these two people on the moral high ground were their own support systems. Like, yeah, in an ideal world where I'm reading text on a screen, I can imagine two perfectly compatible people here, but stop saying that all the time. It's so unrealistic. Just because two people were wronged in the same situation does not mean they're compatible. And in this case, it's like a family member. Big ick. Regardless, this seems like the expected result. Glad OP had the backbone and support of the community that gave him that full-on push to just out her, tell everyone about it, give her the consequences of her actions. We love to see that. She deserved it, Zach deserved it, Zach deserves the worst here for cheating with someone else as well. I hope OP's ex and Zach, continue to stay together, continue to be miserable, and keep themselves away from the rest of us. That is all I hope for in this situation. Thank you for sharing the story with us, OP. I very much appreciate that. And I want to know what you guys think of it down in the comments below. Let me know. Our next post is by user internboy123, titled, I, 26 female, went to a perfect wedding with my significant other, 27 male, and now we're both freaking out and gave each other a month to decide to stay or split up. I feel so confused and scared. Advice? So my partner and I have been together for more than 3 years. He's not perfect, but he is purely and genuinely good, curious about the world, honest, very intelligent, very caring. I do not doubt that we feel love for each other. We went to a friend's wedding together, and honestly, the vows the couple said were so intense and true and honest. I am not speculating. We both have known this couple, and we know that their words are not wedding performance. They are way too cynical to play something up for a wedding. That it left me wondering whether I could say those things about my significant other or anyone. It made me think, wow, love like that exists? Where two people can really say that they want 100 forevers with the person standing in front of them? Between the wedding and now, I bottled up these feelings because I was already feeling stressed out about my work probation, but last night we met up for dinner, and we both agreed that we are wondering if this relationship is still something we both want, and that we were both freaked out by the wedding vows. Think that episode of Master of None with the Italian wedding. Between the wedding and pre-dinner conversation, when I was thinking about ending things, it felt like the right call because he stopped being super communicative and it helped me peel away. But since, of course, it turned out that it was him thinking things over too, and we both are on the same page about the things that are lacking, intentionality, more sex, among other things, I feel like it could be worth it to give it another shot, given we've been through so much together, and we hold each other so dearly and care deeply for each other. Can this deep care, though, turn into sprightly attraction again and the giddiness of the first few months? I love him, he loves me, but we're unsure if we can confidently say that we can see our forevers together right now. But we love each other, and we struggle to envision how I can function without his presence, given that we have grown so attached and enmeshed in each other's lives. We don't live together, but he is my quote-unquote person at the moment, if that makes sense. And we live in a huge, fast-paced city. Think New York or London, where it's hard to make connections, friends, or date. I feel like we have a good thing going, but I don't know if I would ever feel like saying forever. Does this mean continuing it is a waste of time? What do we do? I feel so scared of making the wrong choice, especially because of my intense job, and feeling like if I'm not with him, who is my comfort and person? I'll just be an anxious mess alone. I feel like we can fight for this, but it's like, are we fighting for mediocrity, or are we fighting for something that can be made into a forever, or a secret third thing? I don't know. Edit, I do have friends, I just haven't developed very deep friendships in this city. I've been living here for the past 2 years to feel like I have the adequate support community to help me through a potential breakup this intense. I just wonder if you're overthinking this or not, because to me, I'm reminded of that post the other day where the bride wanted to invite her ex to her wedding in order to show the ex up. I could see a lot of you were saying that my reaction saying that's a real big red flag, that's breakup territory worthy, why is she even thinking about him, was an overreaction, that I was thinking too deep about it. Is my read on this situation an overreaction? Am I thinking too deep? I think that they are overreacting here and comparing themselves to something that is unrealistic given where they are in their situation right now. Like this concept of love and attraction and commitment to each other, in my opinion, my bias, is a very much new age concept. My grandparents, for example, got knocked up before they were 20, had to have a shotgun wedding because of religious expectations in the town of not having a child until after you're married. But yet they stuck together and they loved each other throughout their entire life. Things were not perfect at the start. They didn't really like each other, from what I'm told, but it developed into a deep love like these two are describing. So my read is like, if you guys aren't feeling it right now, that doesn't mean it won't develop into what you have seen at this wedding. You guys are putting the cart before the horse. Slow down. Stop overthinking this situation. Stop comparing yourselves. It's not that deep. This isn't something that you should have to break up over, but I understand if you do. I'd still blame you for overthinking in that situation, and I think it would be the wrong choice. In the comments, Dutchman76 says, "New relationship goal unlocked. Make other people break up over how amazing our love and wedding was." Some guy in the UK says, "Comparison is the thief of joy." Math Hatter replies, "This, but also that couple might feel this way genuinely and truly, and also find that the stresses of co-parenting make them fight all the time. Or one of them could fall into a deep, passionate love with someone else 10 years from now and have an affair. A snapshot can be real, but that doesn't make it permanent. Maybe their relationship is a rocky roller coaster, and for all you know, the wedding was at the high point, and maybe yours is more like a multi-decade hike through a beautiful forest. Don't settle for something that won't make you happy, but don't make the grass is always greener mistake either." Connect Industry says, "I think the bigger problem here is that you're terrified of being alone. In addition to that, it seems like you don't have friends? This is concerning. You should still have autonomy and a life outside of your boyfriend. All other aspects of your life should still get your attention, regardless of what relationship you're in." So about the wedding thing, I wonder if this was the first wedding you've ever attended. Most weddings are like what you described. Beautiful vows that make you tear up, an overwhelming sense of love in the room. The couple seems extremely in love. Remember that this is their day to point out all the good things. Some people really are with their soulmate, and they profess that in front of others. Other people may not feel that way a few years down the line. Don't compare yourself to that. I think you should continue to have conversations with your partner about the state of your relationship. If you two identify that you are not in love, ask yourselves if you ever were, and if you can get back to that. If you weren't, can love grow? What would that take? You may come to the conclusion that your boyfriend is really just your best friend that you sleep with, and that's okay. If that's the case, then you should move on amicably. OP replies, "It was the second wedding. The first was a family member who has been with their significant other for like 15 plus years, so it was more of a formality wedding and not as big and bashful as this one. I really appreciate this answer. I do have friends and hobbies and interests I keep up. I just feel like I would still feel a big hole without him, even with my nourishing of the other parts of my life. We, me and significant other, don't even live together. I live with 2 friends that I know will be there for me. It's just tough to envision the break, basically. Thank you again for taking the time to write all this. And now, on to the updates. We are now going to take a step back from the relationship. I want to work on it and bring the spark back in, but he wants space to think about whether he even wants to try with me at all. So it wasn't just about the wedding vows for him. I feel so heartbroken because he was bottling up a lot of issues he felt were present but did not tell me about, or if he did, didn't stress that they were make or break. I feel like these issues were and are so workable. But instead of communicating with me about them and how important they were, he's now pointing towards them as a sign that we are incompatible as long-term partners. I think this is an avoidant attachment style thing. He says the relationship can be saved, and that he loves me very much, and that he still is attracted to me, but he's unsure whether he wants to work on the relationship at all, given that we are so young and he's got new things going on. He just started a PhD and is meeting new people, which I suspect is making him think that there is no room for me or our relationship in his life in the same way anymore. He voiced that we have jumped into serious partnership too quickly and that he wants to have a more normal 20s relationship. The fact that he's thinking about our relationship of more than 3 years as something so disposable, and that I need to be just okay with him taking a step back from it all kills me. In fact, it seems irrational to me. Although love and relationships never are, since I know he wouldn't lie to me about loving me, thinking it's salvageable, nor being attracted. If there is love and hope and attraction, why not try? I feel like an idiot, because I could react to all of this in an, okay, if you're not 100% sure you want me, then F you. I'm leaving and I don't want you 10 times more way, but instead, I'm approaching it in an, okay, I will take this period with an open heart and be the best version of your partner and hold out hope that you choose me again. The second option is torturous given that it's me holding out, choosing to maybe get seriously hurt if he ends things, and also makes me anxious throughout the day as I am in constant fear that he's got the power to say, I don't want this actually. I wish he would say, let's try again instead. All Night says, girl, I was in a relationship with a man like this, and I had the same approach you described in the last paragraph. He's not going to want to try again. Please don't be like me and have enough will and self-respect to walk away first instead of being treated like this. OP replies, damn, yeah, it's hurting myself for ambiguity and insecurity. I don't want to do this for much longer. What made you decide not to walk away? All Night replies, as cliche as it is, love. Made me cling to hope that he would do better. He didn't. Unfortunately, I had allowed him to come back repeatedly into my life, and each time he managed to convince me he had changed. All lies. Each time it ended the same way, with him dipping because of various stresses in his life, then coming back a few months later with a bunch of apologies and excuses. After the last time, I said some very cathartic and very hurtful things to him, so this time I'm pretty sure he won't be back, hopefully. Few Coat says, the old adage rings true. He doesn't know what he wants, he just hasn't the heart to say that it's not you. Professor Long PhD says, reading a bit into Between the Lines, sounds like he might have also potentially met some other people, women, through his PhD program experience that is making him wonder if being single would give him a chance to be a mid-20s guy with them. Grass is greener elsewhere kinda deal. I think that this is a situation where a clean break is needed, and if it comes up, not taking the partner back. I can almost see how that plotline plays out, and the OP is worse off for it. Yeah, you made the right decision going on a break. In my heart of hearts, again, my bias, I don't think he's gonna come back and reignite that passion with you. he has experienced things and he is keeping things from you once again. He's already admitted to you before that he kept all of these feelings in and didn't want to communicate them, was not transparent, and then he brought them up with you in a way that they are a deal breaker. When obviously from your side of the field, you say these are things that we can work on. These are not deal breakers. Why are you framing it like that? That's disingenuous. So then now in his PhD program, he's obviously experienced more things, and there are more issues in his mind, and there are more people where the grass is greener that he thinks I can do better. You know, comparing this to my current relationship, it's not what I want. And then I'm going to go further and say, wow, this wedding that we've been to, I want a wedding with someone in this PhD program, perhaps. That would be my perfect ideal partner. But of course, I'm not going to tell that to OP because that would hurt her feelings. And that would lead to the immediate breakup of the relationship, and I would be the bad guy. Whereas if I just extend it for a while and then eventually break up with her, you know, she might forget about all these things that we're currently heated about. That is where my mind goes with this situation. Obviously, I might be wrong, who knows? But at the end of the day, I don't think that there is a universe where he comes back, apologizes, is suddenly transparent in his communication, and you guys are all hunky-dory. I think that we've gone way past that point, and I think that line was crossed probably halfway into the relationship with all of these things he was bottling up. Was this ever a healthy relationship? I don't know. But I do think the best course of action is having a clean break. You know, block him if you want to, but don't allow him back into your life. Don't allow them to reignite this relationship, because I don't think it will ever work. Find someone that is completely sure about wanting to be with you through the ups, through the downs. Doesn't have to be a perfect relationship, but they know they want you, not the asshole OP, and thank you for sharing your story. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Our next post is by user ThrowRA. My sister sucks. Can relate. Am I the asshole here for blowing up at my sister because her husband's behavior is not my fault? I, 26 female, live in a small town with a lot of family. Aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents. Basically everyone related to me lives here. My sister Lilia, 28 female, married her husband Sean, 31 male, last year. I don't know him very well, but I don't have a problem with him either. Every other weekend, my mum will host a party type thing for the whole family. There's food, decorations, music, etc. Everyone has a blast. A few months ago, my sister started acting kinda strange at these parties. Her husband isn't a very social person from what I can tell. He usually stands off to the side, sometimes without food. Lilia started making comments, usually to our immediate family, but sometimes to anyone who will listen, about how Sean thinks the decorations look tacky, or Sean thinks the music is too loud. Why doesn't Sean just go tell people that? Why is Lilia doing it? What's wrong, Sean? You afraid of ruining the vibe over in your corner over there? At first, it was basically harmless, but the comments got worse and worse. She started saying things like that outside of family parties too. The weekend before last, she made small talk for a while before saying, Sean doesn't look like he's having a good time. I don't think he likes the food very much. I can't really blame him. We don't usually eat at low-class restaurants like yours. At this point, you and Sean both suck, Lilia. What is going on? Hey, do us a favor and skip town, alright? We don't need your kind around here. Her comments always pissed me off, but this pushed me pretty hard. My mom works really hard to make delicious food for these parties. She's a chef at Olive Garden, and I guess my mom could tell that I was getting upset, so she pulled me aside and told me not to say anything to Lilia, that it wasn't a big deal, you know, stuff like that. I respected her wishes, even though I really wanted to stand up for her. Last week, Lilia called and said Sean's best friend is getting married. I'm a wedding planner, and she wants me to plan the wedding. I said sure. This weekend, Sean's best friend and his fiancée had a joint bachelor and bachelorette party. Lilia is a bridesmaid, and she invited me to come along so I could meet the bride and groom and probably officially become their wedding planner. When I arrived at the club, Lilia immediately grabbed my wrist and pulled me to the bathroom. She said, "Sean isn't happy. No one will take you seriously as a wedding planner if you dress like a sla-la-la-la-la. You embarrassed him, and now the groom will blame him for recommending a shitty planner." I had enough of her at this point. It felt like she was just using Sean as an excuse to voice her own opinions. I said, if Sean thinks I'm a shitty wedding planner for dressing normally for a damn club, he can get the groom a new wedding planner. I walked out and went home. Am I the asshole here? Indio Jones says, Info, is Sean actually saying this stuff? I'm half convinced that your sister is just moving him around Weekend at Bernie's style. If all he does is sit in the corner at family parties and not say anything, I would A, check for a pulse, and B, start talking to him directly. OP says, I've never heard him actually say any of this stuff. I'm gonna go talk to him at the next family party, presumably after my sister makes another rude comment, and see if he knows what the hell I'm talking about. Backgrounding Cat says, Info, do you think Sean is trying to isolate your sister from her family? And OP says, no, I think these are her opinions that she's voicing through Sean. Maybe he is trying to isolate her. I don't know. Basic Historian says, first, not the asshole. No matter if it is Sean or your sister. Not nitpicking, just asking, are they having the bachelorette party super early? I've only heard of them at most a month or so before a wedding. That really didn't give you any time to plan. Makes me wonder if your sister only called you out to mock you or make you look crazy, like some rando trying to get a job. Just saying, it feels a bit off. OP replies, I thought they just wanted an excuse to have a party with all their friends. Turns out, the wedding is in 2 weeks. What? Oh my god! You're the worst wedding planner for our wedding that we've just hired you for in 2 weeks. Good luck. These are not serious people. Someone else says, not the asshole. Your sister is a seriously crappy person. She constantly complains about the work that you and your mum do. She has the audacity to put the blame on her husband. Have you ever actually heard him say anything like this? I'd be willing to bet that she's the one with all the issues, and they're all reflective of her own insecurities. OP says, no, we don't normally talk, and as far as I can tell, he's never said anything like this. Zombie Healthy says, so walk up to him and directly tell him what your sister said and ask him if he said it. Call him out. If he looks at you blankly or says, what are you talking about? Tell him your sister is making a fool of him and good luck. And OP says, it's a good idea. Thank you. I think pulling them both aside individually and getting the full story from both of them will give you a lot of clarity as to what the truth of the situation is. Because in a niche scenario where Sean is trying to isolate OP's sister, Lilia, from the family, that's bad. We need to get Lilia some help. We need to get Sean away from her because he's making her say a bunch of crazy shit that is going to get her excommunicated from the family, and he will have her all to himself. That's a possibility. You need to be ready for that, and you need to be ready to help her if that's the case. But I think it's more likely that it is just Lilia talking shit and using him as a scapegoat. So in that case, not the asshole for blowing up at your sister because her husband's behavior is not your fault. What a disgusting thing to do to you, to send you to a club and then say that you dress like a sla-la-la-la-la. What is wrong with these people? You dress like that for clubs. They're such assholes for shaming you for something that is a complete non-issue. And now, on to the update. So I ended up inviting Sean and Lilia out to lunch. Lilia was still a little upset that I had dressed like a sla-la-la at the club, but mostly things were fine. Before we left, I asked Sean if he thought my outfit at the club was inappropriate. He said no. I asked if he thought my mother's cooking was bad. He said no again, and this time he looked more confused. Before I could ask him about another comment, Lilia grabbed his arm and pulled him up. She said they had to go. Sean looked even more confused and told Lilia that he wanted to hear what I was going to ask next. She looked visibly angry, and after I asked him if he thought the decorations were tacky, Lilia said, if you're not coming, I'm leaving without you. And she ran to the car before either of us could stop her. Sean was really confused now, and asked why I thought he didn't like the food, etc. I told him the whole story of how Lilia was telling me and my immediate family that he was saying rude things. He looked completely shocked now. He said he never said any of those things and that he thinks the parties are wonderful. He explained he's just a little antisocial and gets nervous around people he doesn't know well, which I totally get. He apologized if anything he did was offensive, but I said there was no need for an apology. I gave him a ride home. Lilia took off with their car. When we got there, my sister's car wasn't in the driveway. I went to my mum's house next to drop off some stuff I had for her in the car. When I got there, Lilia's car was parked outside. She was sitting at the dining table crying, and my mum was doing her best to comfort her. When my sister saw me, she started crying even harder. I sat down, and I waited until she could calm down. When she finally did, I gently asked why she was saying all those things. Lilia said, "I don't know, to make you hate him, I guess?" And my mum asked why she wanted us to hate him. She kept replying to our questions with, "I don't knows," before admitting the truth. She said she'd been feeling jealous since our brother Eric got married. She felt like he was getting all the attention, especially when his wife announced her pregnancy. She also said Eric was always the golden child growing up, and she wanted people to notice her just this once. I never thought that he was the golden child. In fact, Lilia seemed to be favored over him, but maybe I was too wrapped up in my own stuff to notice. My sister decided to stir up some drama to get the attention back on her. She used Sean because no one in the family knew him very well, and it was very easy because he doesn't interact with a lot of people. She claims she wanted the attention so badly, even if it was negative. She wanted to see how far that we would let her go before one of us snapped. After a long talk, she promised never to do anything like this again, and admitted that she mostly did all of this out of resentment towards Eric for always stealing the spotlight. My mum promised to pay more attention to her, and she apologized if she ever made Lilia feel like Eric was better than her, and we all hugged it out. Earlier tonight, Lilia called me and said that she and Sean were going to try couples therapy, and she was going to get individual therapy for herself. I said I was happy for her, and she can come to me if she ever needs anything. I guess that's it. I'll update again if anything else happens. Almost Infinity says, "Dang. Personally, I would never trust Lilia with anything ever again, especially because she craved attention so much, she didn't care if it made her partner, a man that she supposedly loves, into the bad guy. What's stopping her from doing that to any one of you if she could do that to the man that she made vows with?" Quote, "My mum promised to pay more attention to her, and she apologized if she ever made Lilia feel like Eric was better than her." I don't really like this response, to be honest. Lilia straight up admitted that she wanted people to hate Sean for no reason, and she gets rewarded with love and more attention. OP replies, "My mum has stage 4 cancer, and we don't know how much longer she'll be here. I completely understand wanting all of this to just be over and cherishing the time she has left with her daughter, but in a different situation, I 100% agree that this wouldn't be a great response." Almost Infinity replies, "Ah, I guess that does change things quite significantly. Sorry to hear about your mother. I totally get wanting to make amends with the time left." Negotiation Agile says, "Poor Sean. He just found out that he married a woman who was willing to tarnish his reputation and throw him under the bus for some attention. It's also sad that she doesn't even realize she's the favorite child. When another child gets some attention, she feels resentful and assumes she's being overshadowed. Hopefully, therapy will help her. She's fortunate that her husband is willing to go to couples counseling after she's been bad-mouthing him and painting him as the villain to her family for the sake of drama." Maleficent Mistake says, "Honestly, OP, if I were you, I'd give your sister some low-contact space, because she's acted horribly to all of you and at her poor husband's expense, all because she didn't have enough attention. She needs help, and you need to stay away from her for a bit. She's just drama at this point." OP replies, "I would, but I think a lot of this was caused by my mum's declining health. I want to be there for all of my family if the worst were to happen." Maleficent Mistake replies, "You can still be there for your mum while keeping low contact with your sister. Stop making excuses for her." OP says, "My mum wants all of us to be there for her as a family. If I went low contact, it would really hurt my mum and cause other damage to the family. I also think this is just Lilia's way of dealing with the grief of possibly losing our mom. It doesn't excuse her behavior, of course, but I can't go low contact now when she needs me. Username must contain 0 says, at the very least, Sean has to know. You all feel bound by blood and hard times, and there's nothing wrong with that, but he deserves the right to choose if he wants to spend his life with someone who would do something like this to him. That level of attention seeking and all the reasons behind it need therapy. OP replies, they're getting couples therapy, and she's getting individual therapy as well. And Buggier Bria Lee says, but do you know that your sister didn't lie to him about the situation? He needs the whole truth, not her version of it. And I would hope that that comes out in individual and couples therapy for the husband in this case. Very much difficult and nuanced situation here, especially when you bring up mum's cancer. Again, it does explain some things as to why they happened, but that sister needs some serious help. You know, if she wants that help to sort all of her shit out. You really just can't be doing all of that, and it's so eye-opening to me that as soon as she's called out for it in front of her husband, she just runs away. And it just leaves with the car. Yeah, I'm just going to leave my partner stranded so that, like, I can make my point even more shittily that I don't want to take accountability and I'm going to leave you stranded and I'm going to leave you with the person that has to explain this situation to you more as to how messed up my actions were and how much I threw you up under the bus. Like, my God, she is just a flaming mess of a person, that sister. And, like, yes, you're dealing with the loss of your mother because of stage 4 cancer. I can't imagine how everyone is feeling in this situation right now, but starting petty drama so that you get attention over your brother and causing, fractures within your family unit while your mother is dying, that's just such bad news. It's just such a bad look. That could probably lead to the divorce of her and her partner, because what a shitty thing to do, and I wouldn't blame him if he walks out on her even after this couples therapy. I think that's understandably a very shitty thing to do. I would leave someone over that. It's like, why are you spreading lies about me and defaming me to everyone who is supposed to love us? What's wrong with you? Because how can you trust someone like that again? If they've done it once to you before to such a bad scale and then runs away from accountability, how can you trust that person again that they're not going to do this and then try and sweep their actions under the rug and run away again? Why stay with someone like that? I don't know. That's my thoughts on this situation. Thank you for sharing the story with us, OP. I really hope that you can grapple with the loss of your mother there. I genuinely cannot imagine the pain that you're going through with this. What do you guys think of this one? Down below in the comments. Let me know. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. Thank you for sticking around to the end. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.